It's more simple section. Okay, we're gonna get started. We're 10 minutes behind schedule. Yeah. I'm not here an hour. Okay. We'll have questions. Oh, yes. Awesome. So okay, we're gonna start. I want to introduce Tish and Chris from First American Title. They brought a bunch of stuff for us, so we're really excited. We're going to go into the trios. You've already been handed one, and we're going to talk about the importance of them, why you get them, and how to read them. And I'm excited to see what your other thing is.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
My other, well, we're going to take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. I'm going to hand it over to you guys.
Okay, that works for me. I want to kind of get a feel for the room first, actually. So is everyone here like brand new? Brand new, pretty new, like just licensed. We're just trying to figure it all out. That's good. Cool.
Some are a few months.
Some are a few months. I heard Kelly, I was in the other room waiting on all this, and I was like, curious what they're talking about in there. I think the most important rule in real estate is don't touch the oscilloscope guy's hand right after. I was like, that's probably where you
really
want to start.
important.
Yeah, germs, we don't want to pass that around for sure. But I'm Chris, First American Title. My office is right in Lake Oswego. Tish and I are both the reps right out there. I'm sure you've heard the term escrow officer before. We are not that, but we are kind of here to assist you guys and whatever you guys deem necessary kind of thing. So I know we have a few structured things we're going to cover today. We're going to go over a trio. Tish wanted to go over a CMP a little bit. I brought a flyer that has a couple of our other tools on here as well that you guys can kind of find super useful on the fly. Just get a whole bunch of property information. And have you guys heard of a net sheet calculator before? Maybe we can talk about that too. So that's good. I'm glad I brought this flyer for sure. So
in the title and escrow world, like think of Chris and I as the resource for whatever it is that you're thinking you need. Like research, like marketing ideas, like how am I going to generate business, helping to create and, build your database, all kinds of things like that. And then escrow officer does all the numbers and the,
facilitating other transactions.
So, and you guys have a choice. And so we're honored to be here. So thank you for listening to us and First American. So what we'd like to do basically is tip the iceberg on sharing what the value proposition from First American Title is. And then there's a lot more.
I
But
completely agree. And a little bit of background on me too. Before I came over to First American, a little over 5 years ago, I was actually a realtor for 2 years right in town too. So I was right in your guys' shoes before. You guys are all going to do great and not end up at First American like me though. So it'll all be good.
no, we stole you.
No, exactly. Yeah, no, and honestly, First American is such a great company. It's been awesome. But I do remember the feeling of, okay, I'm licensed. I got to choose which company, which you guys did an awesome job of, by the way. Keller Williams is one of our favorites forever. So, and they do such a good job in just training up new people and setting up stuff like this. Because sometimes you get licensed, you choose a company, and you're like, have all this energy, and you're ready to rock, and you hear what real estate's about, and all that kind of stuff, and you're like,
What do I do
where
now?
Do I start? Yeah, kind of where do I start? So even just the first step of these are being set up and kind of formally kind of hands-on is a great place to start for sure. But yeah, and we work for a title and escrow company, which I'm sure you guys have heard of a million times. If you haven't done a deal yet, you've definitely at least heard of us. And we love to close your real estate transactions. But again, kind of what Tish said is we definitely want to emphasize that we can help out in a lot of different ways, I guess, too. A lot of this kind of intro stuff, social media marketing, getting all your profiles online set up. We have tech reps that can sit down and help you guys do all that. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Facebook Ads Manager before, but we can help you guys set up retargeting ad campaigns, how to generate leads, stay in front of your sphere and all that kind of stuff on there. You have zip forms, DocuSign questions. I'm sure you have internal people. We have tech reps to help out with that stuff. If you ever come across a piece of land where it's like, I don't know what the development potential this is. I don't know what zoning codes mean. I don't know what any of this stuff means. We have a whole builder services department where if you send us an address, obviously we're not going to kick it to anyone else. Don't need to worry about losing a listing or something, but we can get our eyes on it first, kind of let you know what we think the feasibility of that property is and what you can do, so you can then relay that to your clients. So our main function is we just want to make you guys look really good to your clients. So in turn, hopefully you guys want to close your real estate transaction, your First American Title kind of a thing. So
And then just talking with each of you individually, your business plan looks different than yours and yours and yours. So that's the nice part about meeting, like after one-on-one.
Yeah.
Or we can, do you mind if I sit?
No,
I feel like
no,
the
for sure.
teacher.
No, it's
I
good.
don't want to be the teacher.
No, you're good.
So
Now I'm the teacher. I feel
I
really
think Chris
official.
is gonna do the trio, and then we'll talk about what I call a CMP, and that's this. And it really complements what he's gonna, in my opinion, so why don't you go ahead and start with the trio? And
Yeah. So bonus points, I don't have any prizes or anything, but if someone can tell me what makes up a trio, you get whatever those bonus
That's a
points
good
are. You're like, that's not a very good. Yeah,
Feel like Hermione.
exactly.
And
Yes.
what makes it up and why it's so important to have it before you go on your listing appointment.
Yeah. So it's made up of three things if the name didn't already get that way. Did you want to go? You're good? Okay. So the trio is three different things, and it's probably our most ordered customer service product by far. Three basic things. It's a property profile. So basically you're getting all kinds of information on the property. It's going to have tax and assessment information, property owner information, all the basic stuff on the property. So square footage, beds, baths, all that. It has a tax map. So basically you're going to want to see where the geographic, it's funny nowadays, it almost seems antiquated, but you want to see where the geographic location of where the property is. So there's a couple different maps in there that'll show the outline of the property, where the property lines are, certain dimensions on there, but also one that's zoomed out, and it'll give you kind of an overall, the lay of the land of what's around there. So property profile, tax map. Then the third one is a current vesting deed. So on there, you're going to see how they took ownership in the properties, but also it's going to have the official legal description on there. And the reason that's so important, I know if you guys have clicked around in RMLS, we see the tax ID and that kind of stuff on there. Usually that's pretty good information, but to really get the most accurate information, you're going to want to order a trio through us. Basically, before you write an offer, show property, have a listing agreement signed, that kind of stuff, you're just going to want to verify all that information. If you talk to one person and they say, oh yeah, no, I have the right to sell this, and you're like, okay, I trust them, kind of a thing, and you walk in and all of a sudden there's maybe a wife or an ex or somebody else who has ownership stake in the property, that's going to become apparent very fast. So,
Or sometimes you have deceased parties that are on title.
Yep.
But they're deceased. So we need to, find out who the executor is or who's handling the estate,
Yep.
things like that. Really important, because that's who you're gonna have on your listing contract.
yeah.
Right.
So really it's the most basic information that you guys are going to want to have. And again, we have a whole customer service department. Tish and I are a little different maybe than some other reps. We like to be hands-on with a lot of stuff, but you can either order it through us, or we have a customer service department. If you email them directly, it gets put in their queue, they kick it to you, usually within an hour or so. So it's pretty quick turnaround, at least during business hours. On the weekends, it's a little bit different. One other segue, and I don't want to get too ahead of myself, is there's a flyer out there and there's an app that we have. It's called My First Am. And it's basically what we just talked about. So a trio, you can access all that information on the fly. It's all digital. You can click through right on there. You can actually download it and have it emailed to yourself and all that kind of stuff. But if you're on the fly and just want to pull up that information because you want to look really cool in front of your clients, you can just literally click on rooftops of the stuff around you. You can see who owns the house. You can see all the property information, that kind of stuff as
It
well.
is web-based, but the app is really
The app is
best
great.
because it is GPS driven. So if you're driving through a neighborhood and you pull in front of a house,
Yep.
I can click on that little house and find out all the ownership and property detail information.
Yeah. Do we want to keep talking about My First Am, or should we
Sure,
go
no,
back? Okay. So trio, very important. Always, before you ever get in front of a client, you definitely want to know that information. My first stand, I guess I'll back up a little bit. It's again, an extremely powerful property data application. Don't ask me to say that 10 times fast. I literally like, that was really hard to do it once actually, but yeah, you can register. If you download the app on your phone, you go to the App Store, download it, create your account. It'll have you plug in all your business information, contact information, that kind of stuff. So you can actually order customer service products like a Trio directly through the app, and it'll just get emailed directly to you. Again, you can click on rooftops and do that kind of stuff. You can type in an address, obviously, too. We don't want you to have to zoom in and click a rooftop to do it. You can type in the address, it'll just upload from there. But something really cool, who plans on holding open houses up front? It's a great way to get business. It's a super hot market, obviously, right now, too. So there's a million people coming through and all that kind of stuff. But one kind of cool way to utilize it is you can actually then draw a little radius around the open house that you're doing. Something that we found people do is it's a very non-abrasive way to, I guess, meet some neighbors, potentially get a listing or something like that too, is say, hey, I'm going to draw a little radius on the app. I get to see who owns their house and who is a renter. The way we dictate that is when you pull up a Trio, you also can see the mailing address and then the property address. If those differ, we say, hey, it must be a renter because they usually have their mail sent to where they actually live.
The tax statement is going to a different address.
And it's going elsewhere. So what you can do is walk to the neighbors and say, hey, Mr. or Mrs. Neighbor, like, I just want to let you know I'm gonna be holding this house open this weekend. There might be a little additional traffic coming through here. I know with my neighbors, I've always wanted to see what it looks like inside. If you guys want to swing through, I'll have cookies or sandwiches or whatever it might be, kind of a thing. Just to meet them, be familiar. Obviously, it's a courteous thing to do as well, just because there might be a little bit of a difference, I guess, in their neighborhood at that moment in time. But also it could be a good business development opportunity for you guys, just to meet some people in the area and they check it out and then they see the price and they're already shook your hand or whatever it might be, kind of a thing. So have you guys heard the term farming before?
Yeah.
So basically we have a farming tool on our app where you can literally with your finger or on the laptop with your mouse, you draw a little circle around. It's going to pop up with little pins on every single house that's in there, and it'll be blue or green. Am I going to screw this up? The
No.
blue is renters and the green is owner occupied. So literally walking up, you can kind of tailor how you're going to have that conversation and how that's going to go. When you do go meet them, or if you do want to download these lists and kick them out, I just want to get in front of renters because, hey, maybe you could buy, interest rates are low, and in your neighborhood, here's the average price point. So maybe we should look at that. You want to kick out postcards or something, you can download that list directly, upload it to, what printing service do you guys use? You guys have an internal one, or Bear Printing or Corfac? Or?
If they're doing a lot, I recommend Bear Printing.
Okay,
But
yeah.
otherwise they can print here.
Okay,
For
cool.
their homes.
Yeah, so we
Wherever's
can.
cheapest.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's a good point too. But you can upload these lists into those platforms and just send out mailers that way, which is great. Yeah.
So before we get in, I guess, into the other stuff, so the importance of the Trio, it's brief, but extremely important, making sure that you've got the right party on the listing agreement when you go and get it signed. So I would always recommend that you, and it's quick to get. So if you find out you're on a listing appointment in an hour and you call one of us, we can call customer service and say, this is a rush and they'll get it to you immediately. But I think walking, like Chris said, walking into the listing appointment prepared, you know, you're probably competing for that listing. So you want to make yourself stand out and be ready to go. Some of my people, that's why we printed this, and this is a comprehensive market profile. It's the Trio, but it's also just a little bit more information. It's, if you open it up, I'm sorry, it's not in color. You've got a brief sales comparable sales report. You've got the Altos neighborhood report. That's really great because when you're in front of the owner, you can tell them in that neighborhood how many homes have sold, you know, how many are owner occupied, how many are not, what the average sales price is of the homes, price per square foot, length of residence. It's just a lot more statistics, and it goes way back for years. I think it goes back like 10 years. So I think if we, as we hope to earn the slot of being a business partner, if we can arm you with as much information and research and statistics as possible, then it makes you look better and you're gonna stand out and be a little bit different than somebody that is coming in behind you for the listing appointment. It also has, you can see there's neighborhood map on the back. It shows an overview, and it also shows the neighborhoods, the little subdivisions in that area, and gives you statistics on those neighborhoods. So I like it because I feel like, why not have a little bit more information? Some people prefer just the trio, so it's up to you. So next time you're going on a listing appointment, we can maybe provide both, and then you can decide which one suits you better, right?
Yep.
I'm curious, where does that property information come from?
The
Is it on tax
statistics?
records Or,
This is all coming from closed county sale data. Yeah. Right.
Yep.
It's all the data that's being recorded with the counties, okay? Now, one thing on the trio and this report that I would like to mention is sometimes you'll sit down with an owner and they'll say, the square footage is wrong. I have 600 more square feet than that. Well, oftentimes they'll do an addition and the county has no way of knowing unless they pull permits. So if no permits were pulled and they finished out a daylight basement, you know, it can benefit them, but at the same time, you know, as an agent, you don't really want to bring that to the attention of the county because they're going to reassess their taxes.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, you know, as an agent, I haven't been an agent for 21 years. It's been a long
Yeah.
time, so.
It's one of those things where, again, more information the better, but if you guys see a discrepancy where they're claiming it's 3,000 square feet, and then you guys pull a trio and it says it's
22.
less than that, or whatever
Yeah.
it's gonna be,
That's why.
it could be a sign that then you guys should go check sites to make sure that either permits were pulled, because you wanna make sure the work was done correctly for your guys' buyers and that kind of
Because
stuff as
sometimes
well.
they'll make them go retro.
Yeah,
And
and,
undo some of the things they've done to get the permits and then redo.
yeah, so it can go one of two ways. It can be either your taxes may be higher if you then do have them come back and permit it, because then it's
Yeah.
additional square footage and that kind of stuff. But you also wanna make sure that
It's
work was
done,
done right, so they don't have issues, and then it's
Right.
just non-functional.
especially any kind of electrical work.
Yeah, exactly. So, and another cool site, I don't know if you guys have heard about this or not yet. There's a site, it's called, oh my gosh, just blanked on Portland Maps.
Portland Maps.
Portlandmaps.com, yes. You guys have probably heard about that. So that's a great way to go check and easily see if permits were pulled for certain work that's being done and seeing what hasn't done. I can't remember I think they go back pretty dang far, and you can actually pull the permit and everything too, and it'll be signed
Yeah.
off and everything.
Yes,
So,
you can get copies.
yeah.
So if the seller did some work, didn't get the permits, and then the buyer buys the house, that goes on the buyer still?
Well, it will come up in the inspection,
Oh, okay.
yeah, and so the inspector will probably, right?
Yes, ask that question one more time.
If the seller had work done that didn't get permits, it didn't get permitted, then the buyer buys the house, would
Well,
it be on the buyer?
We'll deal with it before you get to that point.
Right.
yeah, if it's something major like that, it's gonna come up and it will probably have to be done before the sale
Yeah.
Right.
occurs.
Yeah.
So it's really on the seller,
Yeah, and so the inspector doesn't necessarily check if it was
permit.
permanent work. They just, is it all functional? Are the
Yeah.
outlets working? Is it all, I don't know, does the faucet run down there? All that kind of stuff. They're not necessarily pulling the permits saying, hey, yeah, this work was done. They don't necessarily check the difference in square footage and all that kind of stuff from public record and what it says on the listing. So
So how would that get established before the deal went through?
that it was permitted work.
Yeah, whether or not it's.
Well, if there are some repairs that need to be done, if an inspector can spot some shoddy work, if it's very noticeable.
I saw in the disclosures, there's a section on there where it asks if there's been any remodeling.
Yeah.
And then it asks about permits.
I see.
So there's triggers.
Yeah,
And they have to
Triggers
stay.
everywhere. You can
and
see.
then also,
Also based on the age of the house.
yeah,
And what it obviously has been updated, right? There's certain things that have that permits.
and then after, we've seen 2 years later where, you know, buyers have gone back and, you know, sued the sellers because they didn't tell the truth on their disclosures. So it can get sticky, and I guess reinforcing to your seller, being 100% honest on those disclosures is extremely important. So, Trio information, very important. We're gonna kind of demo some stuff for you guys, but I would say, like Chris said, the app works really well. The app actually works well with another app that we have, Cost First. Do you wanna talk about
Sure,
that?
yeah, so there's actually a bunch of different calculators on there you guys can use, but there's something called a net sheet that is super important to a lot of sellers when they go to list their house, because they're gonna say, how much money am I gonna walk away with once I do this kind of a thing? So you need some basic information, but a lot of it is automatically plugged in on our app. If you just plug in the address, it'll pull the taxes so we can prorate those. But then there is stuff you guys aren't gonna need to know to show a net sheet, and or to show your seller a net sheet. And basically, you're just gonna need to have payoff information, or you can eventually do that math if you do sit down with them at that point. Say, here's what you'll net if I have a 5% commission. Here's your title and escrow fees. Here's what you owe on the property, and all the county fees and all that kind of stuff that are associated with selling a property as well. And basically, it just comes down to what are you going to make when this is all said and done, and we do find a suitable buyer for your property.
But these two apps are cool, because if you're in My First Sam and you're with your seller and you click on closing costs, it directs you to this app immediately and pulls everything over, just like Chris said, it pulls all the numbers, taxes, everything over. You'll just have to put in your commission and payoff,
Yeah.
things like that.
And when you first look at the calculator, it looks a little daunting at times, but we also have 8 awesome escrow officers in our office that are more than happy to run that sheet for you, because they would love to do anything in their power to earn your guys' business. We do net sheets as well, so if you guys were ever thinking, this looks a little intimidating right now, maybe I need to have someone show me how to sit down and do it, maybe I should have Chris or Tish or one of the escrow officers do it at first, we're more than happy to do that as well.
Now, what's intimidating was a long time ago when I got licensed and I had to use that stupid calculator. We didn't have anything like this.
Yeah.
And I remember struggling through
Yeah.
2 states of licensing and with like, oh my God, the
Yeah,
math.
no, crazy, I
So
know.
this is super great, but like Chris said, we have escrow people that can do it for you. You don't have to do that.
Yeah.
You choose not to.
No, they're really fast, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you want to jump on GIS or?
So,
what do you think?
That's really pretty much the Trio information. We could talk briefly about a prelim, and maybe we can come back and do like an in-depth prelim review.
Sure.
Yeah,
Because you guys will get copied on the preliminary title report, and the industry doesn't expect you to be the expert on the title, but you do have to review it, and a really great escrow officer will alert you of any red flags and things that we have to work on. Just know that if that occurs, the communication will be there with you, and the title company, will be working diligently on the background to clear everything. So that's not really your responsibility or your stress to deal with, but we will communicate that to you. But there are certain things on the title report that are on every title report. So I think it might be good to come back with an escrow officer
yeah, that'd be great.
and walk
Yeah.
through it together.
We'll rotate you through the next one.
Okay,
Kind of shift it between all the time.
yeah,
Oh,
of course,
great.
of course.
I know, every time I rotate, everybody does it differently, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, they hit it, so yeah.
And
For sure.
also, I feel like, there's a lot of title companies, and
Yeah.
I encourage you to sit down and interview every one of us and determine which one of us, company-wise, is the best partner for you.
And
Because
find
you,
your right escrow officer too.
yes, exactly, because you wanna find that partner. It's like wearing your shoe to work every day. It has to be comfortable, you have to trust them, and, it's our job to work really hard to be the best partner. So I think, we're all different, escrow's all different, and it has to be that personality fit. So I encourage that. I think it's good that they bring a lot of people in for that.
Yeah, we really want to look at ourselves as kind of an extension of your team, I guess.
That's how I did it.
I've also gotten questions before where it's like, oh yeah, that all sounds great, Chris. Like, do I pay you? How does this all work kind of a thing? And being new, that's not always kind of upfront. So the answer to that is no, you're never going to have to pay us for any of these. Well, let me go back on this. For any of the stuff we help you out with, social media marketing, all that kind of stuff, You never owe us anything for that. We basically want to help you guys out with the hopes that you think we bring enough value and that you would like to direct your transactions to us. And we connect you with an awesome escrow officer, which is again, another extension of your team. And so you guys never have to pay for these services. There's no hourly rate or anything like that.
Good thing, because Chris is expensive.
Yeah, that's very true. I know exactly. But yeah, I just want to make that very apparent kind of upfront because sometimes that can be a little confusing. Say, oh, you're going to do all these things for me. Why or how does this all work? So I wanted to make sure you guys knew that.
So,
Are we good with
Once
time?
I just here for you, but once you get pulled up what you want, then I'm gonna share the screen.
Okay. So with you guys' permission, Chris and I just want to show you, there's a lot of resources that we have available to you. But I think if we can just spotlight a few of them, and then maybe when you have more time, we can meet with you and dive deeper into them. Should we do GIS?
Sure.
Or what do you think?
Yeah, let's jump on. I think we should show them what we got.
Okay.
First Connect might be a good one to jump on as well, just to have a bunch of them. But you guys learning lots? So what was covered today?
Oh, God.
Inspection stuff?
Okay.
And well, that's a great thing to do. I remember the inspection, when we see inspection meetings, sometimes I'm like, God, there's so many things that can go wrong, but that's why it helps to have a really good inspector as well that you work with, that can point all this stuff out.
So
and do that.
maybe after this meeting, we can get everyone's email address and we'll send you the links. And we'll also send you my firsthand stuff like
Yeah.
that, if that's okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But, and this is a website that you don't need a login for. One of the things that I will say is when you are considering a new partner, First American is the only title company that covers the entire state. One production system, one everything. So when you look at some of our stuff, you'll see counties elsewhere. So if you've got people purchasing in Bend or on the coast or things like that, you've got information right here at your fingertips still. And we don't have to direct you to another company. So on the right, we've got a products tab, and on the left, we have some reference maps. You can see we've got all the counties here. So I'm gonna click in to I'll do this and then you can do the other,
Sure.
the First Connect stuff.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Okay. So this website is kind of like Chris always says, we wanted you to go to very few websites. We don't want you to have to go to 25 at a time. So this is a special department that First American has, and it's called our GIS, Geological Information Services Department, and it is unique to our company. They do a lot of mapping and interesting different things that can help separate you from the other agents, right, Chris?
Yeah, so a lot of this stuff too, have you guys heard of for sale by owner lists or distressed property lists, different title companies and that kind of stuff? If you get them, usually they're like a PDF and there's a million stuff. It's not easy to find information or what part of town the property's in and all that kind of stuff. We like to just put stuff in a format where it's easily digestible, I guess. And that's why we have a department that does that. So, I mean, they're up there, we have the for sale by owner list and that kind of stuff. Obviously, we're close to Lake Oswego. We actually have an easement map too. So if you type in a property, you know what easements that property has access to on the lake. Just anything that we're thinking, okay, this is kind of hard to understand, or where can you get this information super quickly? We try to put it in map format just because a lot of people are visual, I guess, and like to see it that way.
That's how I like it. Don't give me a spreadsheet.
Yeah, don't
I
give
just
me a
want to look at
spreadsheet, yeah.
pictures.
Yeah, exactly.
But you know, if you're working with buyers or sellers that are in Lake Oswego, if the property has a lake easement, it's going to be of more value, right? So this is a good way for you guys to go in. You can go in and just click on a property, or you can also do a search. So this one I just happen to click on, gives me the address, it gives me the tax ID number, and it tells me that this easement is the number 15 Uplands. So I then can click on this. This is important information if you've got buyers, because there's a lot of fees involved in transferring easements and things like that. So this page takes you directly to the page. It gives you the link to all the bylaws and the easement fees. Back here. Down here, it tells you who runs it, president, vice president, what the membership is, the boat slip fee annually, a lot of good information. This adds a lot of cost to your buyers if they're gonna purchase a home with easements. So this is a great resource to be able to go and check that.
How do you get to the website that has all the websites on it?
We're gonna send it to you, but you can write it down. It's gis.firstam, G like George, gis.firstam.com. There's a couple of great things in here that I feel like I use a lot myself, and there's a link here for finding out if a property is in a floodplain. Your lender's gonna wanna know that. And again, you have a search tool right here. You can search. You can see it, this is covering the whole state. So you can just type in the address that you're looking at right there. Chris, like Chris said, the for sale by owners, whether you're gonna work the lead source of FSBOs, or whether you're going to, I've had 2 agents in the last month, well, this was a month ago, when we had a lot of multiple offers, and they were new first-time home buyers, and they just were getting slammed with 12 offers and beat out. So 2 agents, they both actually went to our site and did some research. When you click on these, it gives you the information on the for sale by owner and contact information. They both actually ended up writing a deal for their buyers with no competing offers. So you never know if a FSBO is gonna let you come out and, preview the property. It could be a fit for your buyers. So that's kind of nice as well. to
Where are you
help.
getting the for sale by owner information from?
We have a source. I don't know the name of that. They update it weekly, right?
Yeah, we have a data source called
Yeah.
Trace. We just pull all that information, then we upload it into the map format, so.
And I think they just, they
They're searching web.
aggregate that, from all different areas.
Yeah, and I know a lot of people too like to actually try to get listings out of for sale by
Yeah.
owners as well. And there's scripts and all kinds of stuff which you can do that, but,
It's better to go for them as a buyer.
yeah, exactly. That's a really good point, but yeah, you gotta get creative, I guess, these days to try to get something in the contract, and just another way to find houses that maybe, aren't.
But I think being creative, that's a benefit to you because, you're gonna look different than all the other agents, right?
Yep.
So also we have the Altos reports. Have you guys heard of those?
Yeah, we have Keller Williams Realty, Rutland Premier, Bernie did.
Oh, okay.
For our
Then you don't need that link at all. There you go. We also have a link to distressed properties. If you're working with some people like to purchase them, investors like to purchase them. So again, these will take you to all the information on those properties. The weekend open houses. This is interesting. If you are working with buyers and you happen to not be able to take them out for the weekend, you can direct them to this link. Make sure, of course, that they tell the hosting agent that they're working with you. But this is a really great resource for all the upcoming opens. And I can click on these properties and get information. So you see this one tells me the address. I can get directions by clicking the link. It also gives us the MLS number and the public remarks. So that's kind of cool.
Yep.
If you go up here to the right, it tells you the red is Saturday, the blue is Sunday, and the white is both days. Any questions? I feel like I'm talking a lot.
Actually, maybe it is. Maybe we should open it up for questions or something.
Yeah.
Some of this stuff is very forward thinking, like how do we make some of this easier for you? But I'm curious if you guys have questions for us. I don't know, about title and escrow or just the industry in general, or how we might be able to help you or that kind of stuff.
Well, I remember when I first was licensed, probably 6 months later, I was still thinking, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
How do I add people to my database? What does that look like? What does that mean? And way back then, 30 years ago,
Yeah.
I didn't have all of this stuff and people like
Yeah.
Chris and I, so lean on us for ideas and, just use us, just don't abuse us.
Yeah, we work with a ton of realtors in the area that, from 0 years experience to 35,
Yeah.
we kind of see what they do and what works for them. And we like to think we're a wealth of knowledge and we can kind of pass that along to you guys and say, here's what's effective for a lot of the successful realtors in San Jose.
And one thing I will say that we will never share any proprietary information. If you're working on some special projects for you and your
Yeah.
business, we're not gonna share that with other people. We might brainstorm different ideas, but we will never directly, specifically share anything like that. One of my absolute favorite thing on this whole site is right here, the Tri-County 3-month sales summary. This can help you guys a lot. Like if you're doing comps or if you're working on buyers and you want to look at neighborhood comps, this is so cool. This gets me excited.
Data, yeah.
So you see it's gonna land on the Tri-County, the last 3 months, we've had 8,087 sales with an average sales price of $678. That's crazy. That's a lot of sales. So we can click on this white link over here and search by neighborhood if you want to search neighborhoods. Or, you can zoom in this way. All of those red dots are properties. I like to search over here. So let's see that little search tool there. We can type in, do you have an address?
Sure, 727,
Put on my glasses here. 727.
yeah, 6th Street. Lake Oswego.
So we can see our subject property right here. What I like to do is zoom out. And Chris, you tell me how you like to use this, because we probably use it differently. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit further, and I'm gonna go up here to this search tool, and I can choose the way I wanna do it. I like the lasso. So I like to grab it, and it's kind of like RMLS, but a lot less cumbersome and easier to use. I think RMLS is, for me, in my opinion, it's more difficult. So I'm gonna pull in some comps, and you can do it however you want. Whoops, I didn't connect it. So in that area, there were 29 sales with an average sales price of 1.1. Now, it's loaded all of those sales on the left for me, so I can click into them, or I can click on the property and get a little more detailed information. Do you ever do it that way, or do
Yeah,
you do
no,
the
I
neighborhood
think it's
search?
just a good way to, again, visualize what stuff has been going for, and you can really see where it's at. And like you said, RMLS is a great way to do it. If you're doing RMLS, it also gives you tabs at the bottom to say average days on market and all that kind of stuff as well. But we just like to bring you guys data, I guess, in a format that looks a little bit better and less clunky, I guess, sometimes.
Or if you're sitting in someone's living room and you have your laptop, you can pull this up
Yeah.
and you guys can together look at, some recent sales.
Yeah.
Let's look at a neighborhood this way. And these are all the neighborhoods in the Tri-County area, so there's a lot of them.
Also on the site, we have a neighborhood map. So if you ever have clients that are curious about the Portland neighborhoods or, any neighborhoods in Tri-County, we actually have an all-encompassing neighborhood map where
Here it
it's
is.
outlined and color-coded.
Right here.
Yeah. I'll click on that.
And this is really neat because I have no clue about a lot of the neighborhoods in the Tri-County
Yeah.
area.
No, it's pretty cool.
This
Yeah.
is good also if you're working with people from out of the area. It's gonna load all the neighborhood names here.
And you can click on them, and then it actually gives you some property information or neighborhood information and that kind of stuff as well. So
Gives you census data, and then you can download the map as well if you wanna do that.
yeah, and this can also be good for you guys, I guess, too, because it's always good to be in the know when you have clients asking about certain neighborhoods and that kind of stuff. And where it is. There's just so much to know that, we're trying to give it resources
Yeah.
where it's easily accessible. So,
And we don't wanna dump a lot of stuff on you. They asked us to share the Trio information.
yeah,
But we thought if we had a little bit of extra time, we could just kind of give you the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
But basically our job is to make your job easier,
Yeah.
right? So we can help you with all this stuff while you're doing the real revenue generating activities.
What's been some of the toughest stuff you guys have run into up front?
Lead generation.
Lead generation.
Can I say something like about conduct, for example, do you provide also CCR?
CCR,
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You
So-
can do that directly through us or our customer service department, and we can send that to you super easily. So, yeah, we do.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maybe.
So once
maybe
you
just go
guys
to that.
secure the listing, after you get the trio, you go on the listing appointment.
Yep.
We then can put together what we call a listing kit, a listing book. We'll get you some shoe covers, we'll get you some neighborhood reports. I brought some samples here that we can, I'll pass them around, and then if you guys have interest, you can let us know. We can get these print for you as well as electronic links. But there's buyer books, welcome to your new home, first time home buyer books, seller's guides, welcome to Portland, all kinds of stuff like that. But you can pass them around. Once you do secure the listing, we can put together that listing kit for you and provide some of that stuff for your sellers as well,
Yeah.
right? For your buyers.
Correct. And we usually hear that response, I guess, when someone's.
Lead generation.
Generation, how do we do that? And we have obviously a million different ideas on how to go about that stuff too, but, and I think we have different, I guess, expertise on all that. In my opinion, I guess the way the world kind of now is social media or stuff online, having your profile set up correctly, Google advertising, all that kind of stuff. And getting in
Making
front of
sure
the
you
right
can be
people.
found.
And getting in front of the right people. So I mean, it could start off as very basic stuff from saying, hey, let's get all your profiles set up, just so you're being found in the most efficient way possible, all the way to, have you guys ever been on a website and then you go to, I don't know, Nordstrom or Amazon or something like that, and you go to Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and you see that item, you just looked at it, you see, you're almost being stalked kind of by the internet in a way.
Well, we actually teach them how to do those ads.
Retargeting
You guys
ads.
do retargeting ads and all that stuff.
I
too?
love that, yeah.
Oh, that's great too. So we teach that. That's the few ways to do that. It's Facebook Pixel, you put it on your website, you can drive traffic there to then retarget them because they showed some interest in whatever it was you were talking about or whatever it was. Yeah, or you can do it off of videos, or if you do a video, you kick it out, you create an ad, they watch half your video, you can then get back in front of everyone that watched 50% of your video and get back in front of them. But if there was one place to do it, you look at huge corporations and those kind of places now, they obviously Super Bowl ads and that kind of stuff are great, and TV and radio and all that, but there's so much money being deployed in the social and being online and being found in the right places. I think it's kind of a no-brainer, so I think that's a good way to go. We also have a platform, if you want to go this route, where you can farm in a way where we can get you email addresses and phone numbers as well. There's a cost to that, I guess. So when you sign up for the platform, I think it's 12 cents per lead to do that. Some people shy away from it because they're like, is it scrubbed by the do not call list and all that kind of stuff, but if there's a way where you can market and get in front of these people, it's great. Again, have you guys heard of custom audiences on Facebook before?
Yeah, we do that in command.
You do that too?
Yeah, so if you have their Facebook profile in there, it'll start, we do target your database, so if they get the databases from you with the email and the phone.
Yeah.
They can put it into their command, and then even if they don't have their Facebook profile, when we do target by database, it'll search for the Facebook profile first, and then it'll search for their email to target the ads to those people. So you can still hit them, but have it be natural. The only, and that one's okay, the other social media posting though, and where the ads and stuff by interest, Apple's kind of put a kibosh on that, so.
Oh, yeah, with data that's speaking.
Yeah, so kind of blocked all, so anybody with an Apple, you can't.
Yeah.
They blocked, they had made it to where you can block, people seeing what you're searching.
Yeah, gotcha.
So, and also if you guys are thinking about farming, doing prospecting in your neighborhood or picking a farm area, we would love to help you make sure you've got a good turnover rate. That's going to be productive for you, spending your time. And we do have a resource that we can pull an area for you and tell you who the highest likely sellers are in that area. This morning, I pulled an area of all of Forest Heights. It was 1,600 single family owner occupied. And once I dropped it into that, the algorithm spit out 100 likely sellers out of that 1,600. So if you're going to spend the money and the time farming, let us help you with being more laser focused with those that have a higher chance. of selling. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
now we're
guess
spitballing, yeah. Is there any questions? We're just, rattling off stuff. It's probably a lot, but again,
It's a lot.
we like to kind of information blast, and then if there's anything that piques your interest, we can always sit down and chat one-on-one. And help you figure this stuff out a little more in depth. I like to take the approach of, if you have a question, request, whatever it's gonna be, if you just bring it to us, if we don't have the answer to it, we can at least point you in the right direction and get you some answers you guys need, so.
Does this stuff cost?
No,
No,
no.
no.
We don't
Oh, okay.
charge for anything. So that resource where you get phone numbers and emails, like we can get your free account set up. We can do, that resource also pulls the next likely sellers. That doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
It also monitors what we call live farms. So if you choose an area to farm, you can select that area and it it watches for any life-changing events that occur that make that property, like puts it in a different category, like bankruptcies or probates or things like that that are filed against the property, liens. And it alerts you, it sends you an email to let you know that this happened on this property in this farm. So, and it also can do that once you start building your database, like with past clients. They can just kind of keep an eye on that, and it just monitors if there's a likely chance that they might need or want to sell. But again, most of that does not cost anything, the emails and phone numbers, and you're not paying us, it's the company
Yeah.
that does the research. So no, we don't charge for that kind of stuff. You know, we hope to earn your business, that's it. Thanks for listening to us.
Yeah.
I feel like we just,
Rattled a lot of
yeah.
information down.
Any questions?
Yeah.
No? I think you guys have our contact information if you want any further information.
You wanna get everybody's
Okay.
email address?
Do you keep a list? that
Oh,
people
I
come to
don't,
you?
not on these.
Oh, okay.
These are just new agents.
Okay.
But we can.
Does anybody have cards yet or no?
Let's have everybody just sign their email address on the sheet
And
if you want it.
we
Or
also,
maybe email.
when you guys start needing your credit hours,
Austin, you can.
we do a lot, like you could have gotten credit for this, but you don't need it. We do a lot of CE classes, but First American also has an online resource, continuing education, and it's just free to you. And you can log